era of enlightenment, at least as far as video games are concerned. Technology, industry, creativity, and passion are each contributing to an environment where players enjoy the myriad possibilities presented by imaginative diversion, ingenious production, and virtual communities that literally span the globe. Our media, however, malinger in the dark ages. They fixate on violence and gore, as we can see in the following clips.
If you're a parent, there are some other things that you should know that should send shivers down your spine if you hear these three words: Grand Theft Auto.
A popular new video game actually allows you to be a terrorist and kill people.
Manhunt 2 is so violent, it's been banned in Britain.
There's no question that there's a correlation between video and game violence and screen violence and aggression in real life.
We are training our kids to be killers.
It begs the question, how can they get it so wrong so consistently? We asked SFU Professor Richard Smith to explain why the media fixate on violent video games.
I guess it's vivid, it's in your face, you know, there's splatters of blood and all that sort of thing. I think a lot of game makers see that as kind of cheap. It's an easy way to get people's attention, but it's not subtle and it doesn't demonstrate your craft very well. You could, for example, you know, in Clockwork Orange style, create a scenario in which children watch nothing but the most violent games, and you didn't expose them to other things, and then you could claim you made them violent. But reality is that people have a lot of media messages, so for all of the violent messages, there's other messages. And there's lots of research to suggest that children that don't think that the real world is a video game.
Given the fact that a large proportion of video games on the market today do include some element of violence, is it possible that the average shooter or role-playing game could have some hidden benefits?
There is some research to suggest that by playing video games you enhance your decision-making powers, your response time, your dealing with uncertainty, even just basic math skills. A lot of leveling up or questing and those sorts of things involve fairly complicated decision-making processes. And then there's games like driving games, flying games, that sort of thing, that arguably do teach hand-eye coordination. And you know, we know that when people are being trained to be doctors, that simulations are a big part of that process. So why wouldn't you use simulations in other parts of education?
Finally, we turn our attention to one game in particular that may serve as an antithesis to all violent titles. Picture a massive, randomly generated planet made of Lego, and you've got an idea of what this game entails. Built on community and fostering collaboration, Minecraft has been at the nexus of a rapidly growing participatory culture that seems to know no bounds.
Well, Minecraft is a kind of game called a sandbox game. When they call it a sandbox game, they're making reference to a thing that children do, is play in a sandbox, you know, a piece of wood with sand in it. There couldn't be anything simpler. And yet you can make all kinds of things in a sandbox, and roads and buildings and you know, entire narratives, which children, and I guess even some adults, can find expression, fulfillment. It goes to the creative impulse. So Minecraft gives that simple terrain where people can break things apart, rebuild them, and assemble larger and larger structures, and importantly, bring people in. Just like you could get someone to play in your sandbox with you, it fulfills kind of the creative impulse, but also the community impulse. Is that, you know, human beings live, you know, in a big city because we like it. You know, that's what human beings do. We're social animals, and you know, we have a word for hermit because it's so rare. People like to live together, and they like making things together. And the sandbox game is a good example of that. I think it's, you know, it's wonderful in many ways, and provides an opportunity for people to build things online as opposed to blow things up.